What up, world? DG Dread on the mic, you know what it is, and we have to revisit the old faithful. And it's gonna be one of the first decks that actually got me into Digimon in the first place, joining my locals. And it's got some new support with the Digimon Ace. So we're going in with the Gallantmon. It's been one of the mainstays on the channel, for real, and I'm about to bring you all the spice, because I know you like everything nice. So if this is a video for you, then stick around and enjoy. And if you're new to the channel, you like what you see, make sure you subscribe and turn the notification bell, because I do videos on the reg. Without further ado, let's get that deck profile rolling. Yes, sir. Okay, starting off with the eggs, solid 4. It's going to be the BT12 Digimon, because this mon is just helpful in order for you to increase those DP deletion based effects by an additional K, which majority of our mons are all about that deletion. So in order for us to kind of push the threshold is definitely key in order for us to, succeed in our strategy. So that is it for the egg, solid 4. Let's not overcomplicate it. So then going over to the rookies run a solid 12, and that is going to start off with the BT17 Digimon, really helpful for, once again, that all turns inheritable, just to push those maximums an additional 2k, which is going to be helpful for us. And when we can in Crimson mode, just literally that is going to be a massive nuke and just going to be deleting a number of bodies on the opponent's side, which is also great. Also helps with the BT17 Gallantmon there as well, to push that DP deletion effect in order for him to effectively get rid of menacing threats. The actual your turn barely comes up, but it might be something that you can leverage when using scrambles, is that it'll help you to play out your Takados by reducing the memory by, well, the cost by 1, because effectively you'll gain the memory, which is nice. So obviously playing your Takados for the cost of 2 instead of 3 is going to be helpful. We don't run Gallantmon in this list, so no need to even go over that. Then going over the primary searcher, which I'm very surprised that Bandai has only printed 1 so far, and that is going to be the EX2 Gallantmon. This is just your key searcher in order for you to effectively grab your line, as well as your Takado being the key thing. Usually the line of play that I usually go with this is kind of throw this out, and then if I do have the BT12 Growl, and if I do happen to clutch a Takado, next turn I'm going to be using that to play that Takado out, which is also going to be fantastic when I go either into a BT12 Growlmon. It's inevitable, does come up quite clutch in order for you to kind of get rid of any kind of floodgates when you're attacking, because you can delete a 3000 DP body, and obviously because we do have the egg, that obviously goes up to 4k, whilst we are swinging with a Digimon with Growlmon or Gallantmon in name, which is definitely going to be happening. Then our kind of playmaker card is going to be your EX4 Gallantmon. This is kind of your rush body, which is so powerful. As long as there's 20 cards collectively in either player's trash, this Digimon gains rush, which is huge right there. Some awesome plays that you can do with this. Works fantastic with scrambles. Then lastly, we do run the starter deck Gallantmon, just for that inheritable, just to, once we delete something, get a draw. Also gives us a way to kind of warp back into the game with its mechanic, which is kind of nice on the your turn. So overall, that concludes there for the rookie lineup, a solid 12. Now let's go over to the champions. The champions are very streamlined in terms of how we're rocking on here, and it is going to be your solid 9. So right now we are going with our BT17 Growlmon at 4. So this is obviously the primary target that we want to obviously use to once again leverage on that inheritable, exactly the same as the BT17 Gallantmon, just pushing that DP deletion based effects by additional 2k, so very powerful in order for us to kind of just push that threshold even further. And also the wind Digivolving effect there as well is that we're able to delete a Digimon, opponent's Digimon, with 4000 DP or less, and then if it didn't actually delete anything, this Digimon gains 3000 DP for the turn, which once again is pretty cool right there. And then we've got a lot of ways to efficiently climb up line and keep turn and utilize that 3000 DP. Then we use the Black Growlmon EX4. This is such a strong card for that kind of recursion, getting the pieces back, which is definitely helpful for us to effectively kind of get back in the game. Also effectively helps us set up trash there as well. Trash is still quite an important gimmick with Gallantmon, just in order for you to effectively leverage things in trash, bring them back out, any core pieces, and this is why Black Gallantmon is just such a key facilitator in the list. Then we conclude with the BT12 Growl, which I cannot wait to replace with the new Growl. So if you do not have a Takano out on field, you're effectively able to play one out, which is nice. Obviously, the new Growl that we do get is similar to what we kind of see as commonplace, being that if you have 2 or fewer Tamers, you're able to play out a Tamer of a particular name, which is what I'm waiting for here, because with this, once you've got a Takano out, it's pretty much just a dead card, but its inheritable is pretty nice, as that enables us to get an additional 2k DP boost if we are Growlmon or Gallantmon in name, which once again is most probable. So that concludes there for the champions. Now let's go over to the Ultimates. Ultimates very steady right here, rocking with a solid 7, and it's going to be our main playmaker, which I must admit Bandai must have been smoking lines when they was cooking with this card, because this is still to this day one of the best War Growls that we've actually had given to this actual archetype. So with this, it helps us once again set up the trash being the main thing, and then if either player has 5 cards in trash, we're able to play out a Takano or a Gallantmon from hand or trash without paying the cost. Huge, absolutely huge, amazing playmaker here. You can have a build wide, set up your Tamers, absolutely massive. Also, it is War Growlmon in name, which is quite key in order for us to effectively use our warp mechanic smoothly. Then we go in with the 2 BT12 War Growls. This is a great card, still a great card. Its inheritable is pretty nutty. If there's no Digimon on the opponent's side, we're able to gain 2 memory back, so it's a nice little bit of a memory refund. Once obviously we are blitzing with Growlmon, which is once again helpful. Its actual Windows roll, in fact, you don't necessarily use it as much as you did before. So you are able to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6k DP or less. Obviously, we do have our inheritables, which is going to further boost that. So this could potentially delete a 10k, 11k body, which is massive. Obviously, 1 off the egg, 4 in total off of the Gallantmon and the Growlmon BT17s. Then, if the opponent's Digimon wasn't deleted by this effect, you're able to Digivolve into a Digimon, Digivolve this Digimon into a level 6 Digimon card with Gallantmon in name from your hand with the dissolution for the dissolution cost. When this Digimon would Digivolve by this effect, reduce the dissolution cost by 1, which is once again pretty nice right there, but you very rarely use it, I'm not gonna lie. And then we do use the BT17 War Growl 2. The reason why I do like this is because if you do want to kind of push for that aggro, you are able to use the when Digimon effect, is that you're able to delete a opponent's Digimon with 6k DP or less. If this effect didn't delete, this Digimon gains secure attack +1. So if they don't have any Digimon on board, this can effectively be your kind of tempo aggro card, which is quite nice. Very risky play. Probably would not, depending on obviously your matchup. If they do have a high ceiling in terms of their DP Digimon, I'd probably steer clear of using that effect and going in for face. But it's inheritable all turns, which is quite nice. When an effect deletes an opponent's Digimon, you may unsuspend this Digimon with Gallantmon in its name, which is pretty nice right there. We do obviously have cards that effectively can delete twice. And also, we do have aces that effectively delete when it's the opponent's turn, which, once again, helps us unsuspend, and potentially we could have blocker, so very handy. So that concludes there for the Ultimates. Now going over to the Megas. The Megas are very solid right here, going to be an 8, and we've got some fresh spice up in the mix, which we always like. So then we go in with the BT17 Gallantmon. This is just your main Gallantmon that you want to be seeing. Very powerful, to say it's a rare. When Digivolving and when attacking, this is not once per turn. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8,000 DP or less. Once again, we're going to think about those DP maximum increases that we do have from the egg and also from the BT17 Gil and Algrowl, which is going to be further boosting that up to, you know, absolutely amazing heights of 13k, which once again can get rid of most Digimon. If this didn't delete, this Digimon then gains 3,000 DP and gains blocker. So finally utilizing that shield that is being blessed with from the freaking day ones, and gives us the opportunity to block an actual attack. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky in terms of getting that blocker and him actually blocking, but once again, it's a nice to have. Then your turn. While you have 0 or less memory, this Digimon isn't affected by your opponent's effect. So once again, kind of a nice pseudo protection, which is always good. So if the opponent will happen to, you know, ace and try to actually attack us whilst we're blitzing, not a problem. Shield is going to protect us and we're all good. So very powerful card, to say it is a rare. We do complement that up with the 2 secrets, and that's going to be from BT13 Gallantmon. This is kind of a little bit of your panic button kind of Gallantmon. It is quite hefty to evo into. Obviously, cost of 5 isn't the wave, but if you don't have any Digimon out on field, you're able to play this, and you're able to reduce the cost by 2 for every 5 cards in both players' trash, which is once again pretty freaking nice. So obviously you can kind of throw this down, and then it does have rush, which is beautiful, and it does have an on play and then when Digivolving and when attacking. So effectively, once it gets thrown down, you can trigger the on play, and then you can also then attack. Is that you're able to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6k DP or less. When we do obviously have the inheritables, increasing those maximums, effectively that increases the maximums of that effect, which is pretty freaking nice. Obviously for us to kind of proc out any form of potential ace targets, obviously this Digimon can do that. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 13k or more. So once again, can get rid of quite a few bodies, but you do have to make sure the ordering is that you have to delete something lower than 6k before you can then delete something higher than 13k. So the opponent can kind of work around that, but 9 times out of 10, once you've thrown this board down, it's, yeah, he's definitely putting in some work. Then over to the ace and the new spice that we do have in the list, and that's going to be Digimon Ace. So we do run this currently at 1, which 1 I feel like is just the right amount. You could do 2 if you wanted to. But the thing about this card is that it gives us another line of play. The fact that it's a cost of 3, it feels like it's a kind of a nice evolution of what the EX2 version was, but in an ace card. But the thing that's really good, what I want to point out, is that, yeah, granted, you play it out, you're able to delete a 11k DP Digimon or less of the opponent's side, which, once again, if we do have those DP maximums, obviously that's going to be boosting that up by a fair bit. But it is the all turns, which is spicy. So if this Digimon was going to leave the battle area, what it can do, it can play a Gallantmon from hand or trash, and then from there, you're able to then tuck this Digimon underneath as its Digivolution source, which, once again, this actually negates the overflow because it has not technically left the battle area, which is actually pretty nice. And then it grants you that inheritable, is that you're able to add 5,000 to this Digimon's DP deletion maximums, which is huge, because it does give us quite a spicy line of play if we do happen to have our warp Takados out and we happen to use, let's just say, the Rush Gil and we met the condition. We can do some funky plays and actually just really come back, and not just come back with, like, you know, cute little Gallantmon. We're coming back and we're just deleting a lot of stuff right there, which is nice. So I do like this nice Digimon Ace. Very, very strong card. Then we complement that up with the 2 Crimsons. So the 2 Crimsons, you already know what it is. Fantastic card. The fact that you can literally just delete up to 15k of the opponent's Digimon collectively, which is nice. It gives you a nice bit of a nice wide removal. Like I've mentioned before, if it does have the inheritables underneath, this can be absolutely just deleting 20k worth of bodies. Huge. Absolutely huge. It's kind of a bit of like your pseudo option as well, because you can just throw this down for 8 and literally it's like a Gaia Force on legs a little bit. But the thing that's really cool is that it is still kind of your game ender, being able to effectively trash the top card of the opponent's security for every 10 cards in either player's trash. So what that means is that obviously we're going to be trashing a lot of cards, even in our deck, and then obviously in the opponent's deck. Getting this off is pretty easy to do. It's definitely not a problem at all. You could effectively boost this up to 3 if you want to, but because we do want to kind of squeeze in the Digimon, we have knocked this down to 2, and I think 2 is enough because we have ways to recur our Digimon. So that concludes there for the Megas 8. Now let's go over to the options. We got some new spice in the mix, and this right here is all about consistency. And I feel like if the opponent's going to be swinging in our security, they're going to be just giving us value in order for us to kind of pop off. So we go in with the 4 offense training. I think this is just key in order for us to kind of get our pieces, obviously bank up power plays when we do want to go up our line. The fact that we're able to grab our Tamers is really good. Even our red options, very powerful, so that's why we do want to be running that at 4. Then we complement that up with the 2 red memory boosts. Red memory boost just gives us a bit more wider dig. Obviously we do kind of whiff on our Tamers and options, but just getting a key card in order for us to actually go up line is equally as important, being the thing. And obviously for us to effectively use 2 memory when we need to is going to be very hot. And then lastly, we go with the 2 scrambles. Scrambles is very strong in this deck because we're able to just, get out our rush skill, and that's probably the main power play that this deck now has. Obviously, for us to trigger if it was propped from security, once again we can just bring out whatever Gallantmon we want. Obviously we do have the searcher, and we also have the rush skill, which is key, and then obviously reducing the evo cost there as well. Obviously combo that up with your memory boost and this, it's just great value in order for you to kind of climb up that line and kind of disrupt the opponent's field, which obviously Gallantmon is actually quite good at. So that concludes for the options there. 8. Now Tamers. It's going to be able to carry those spreads right here. So we'll go in with the 3 EX2 Takaro. Once again, this is pretty much your main playmaker in regards to actually turning Gallantmon on. being the thing. The fact that you want to be able to blitz is massive, and what this card does, gives you blitz when digivolving, which is helpful, and also able to refund us memory when we do delete the opponent's Digimon, which is very key. Obviously drop that for free cost there as well is always really good value. Then we go in with our 2 Takatos from BT17. This is a strong Takato, especially now that we do have scrambles. Effectively, it just kind of gives us a bit more line of play in regards to, obviously, if we was in raising and the opponent, we didn't have no Digimon before trigger our start of main, start of turn, should I say, get the scrambles, play out a rush Gil. Obviously we've got that there, we bring out our other Gil, we do whatever we're doing with that Gilmon, and then we can trigger the end of turn if the turn's passed to then get our Growlmon and War Growl from trash, tuck it under our rush Gil and go into Gallantmon, and then from there, without even paying the cost, and then from there able to have a blitz, delete the opponent's Digimon, do what we need to do, finish the job, which is always good. Also, to start our main, if we do have a Gilmon out, we're able to gain memory, which is always cheeky. Then we run the one of the memory setter, which is going to be our Takano from BT12. It's just mainly a memory setter, Takano in name. The warp effect I wish was better. The fact that we still have to kind of pay the cost is a bit annoying, but it does come up when you need it to come up. But 9 times out of 10, you're probably leaning more on the BT17 Takano for that warp, just because, you know, it's free. Being the thing, I like free Evo. I'm sure you guys like free Evo. So that concludes that for the Tamers and also the deck list. Let me know what you think. And there you have it, guys. Gallantmon Deck Profile laid out, ready for you to adjust to your playstyle. So, what are my thoughts on Gallantmon now with the new support? It definitely has opened up a new bit of flavour into the mix of Gallantmon, just because we have ways to reduce Evo costs, set up nice delay effects that can actually benefit us quite a lot in Gallantmon, especially because we do have the Rush Guild. We have obviously BT17 Takano that effectively is going to be able to kind of utilize our combat mechanic a lot more easier than it did before. We utilize our trash anyway, so we've got ways to actually get stuff into trash. So I feel like the scrambles are massive help. Obviously, we've always had the trainings and so forth, so obviously we can just kind of fully extend on that. But the Digimon Ace really just helps out in regards to having another line of play. Obviously, we do already have an Ace with, obviously, Crimson Mode Ace, which is nice, but being able to kind of threaten an Ace at a mega level is kind of nice in terms of going from my level 5 to level 6. Sweet. And the fact that it's got a pseudo kind of floating effect is pretty awesome. Don't get me wrong though. I mean, like, if I'm floating into a Gallantmon with that underneath, they could simply just snipe out my my Gallantmon, and then that's overflow 4, which ain't the worth, guys. It's not the worth. So better watch out for those kind of plays. But if you manage to get the Gallantmon with the inheritable of Digimon Ace, you're absolutely cooking, and just floating into a Rush Guild just gives you another swing if you meet the actual condition of having, you know, accumulatively have 20 in trash between you and your opponent. So overall, the support is nice, but EX8 is where it's going to be popping off. Let's be real. I know we're all thirsty for it. The Tricolor Gallantmon X antibody, sheesh, that is going to be popping for real. But we do not have the full support to make it run super smooth, but we've got majority of the pieces in order for us to actually execute our game plan pretty efficiently. So regardless, it's going to be amazing come January the 10th if Bandai does not delay anything in the UK, which we've not heard anything yet, which is nice. But guys, let me know what you think to the actual deck profile. Obviously, stay safe, stay fly, have an awesome new year if you've not already had one, and keep it real. That's your boy D Dread, off the mic.